And you should be seeing on the screen Apple TV Jim Corsica presenter. Is that what you're seeing?
Indeed, we are. Yep.
Okay, great. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about streaming video and about cutting the cord. And if we have time, I'll get into the music app and the other sort of streaming services, podcasts, and audiobooks. Let me start out with some disclaimers, my friends across the pond. At one point in this talk, I am going to mirror my Apple TV onto my laptop for you to see. And I will be opening clearly some apps that have video in them, but will likely not play back. Okay, that's when I attempt to open HBO Max, it'll open up and show me a screen with choices on it, but none of those will be active because it becomes a digital rights issue.
Yeah.
Secondly, all monetary quotes will be in US dollars. And for your convenience, currently £1 is equal to $1.39. And finally, I make no claim to knowledge of the availability of the products in the United Kingdom. So I'm pretty sure you have Netflix. I'm pretty sure you have HBO Max. I don't know whether you have Peacock, but I will leave that up to you to decide based on what I say later about whether or not it would interest you, that sort of. So I wish I could say that I had the patience to go through and do that research, but I did not. And finally, I have discovered that many times the charge for an app or a service is basically the same. So it'll be $14 US or it'll be 14 pounds GBP. Well, that simply says to me that the Brits are getting cheated a lot.
Yeah.
Because they're paying a lot less, or a lot more than we are. So I apologize for that, but I'm not really responsible. First of all, a very brief history. The Apple TV is a streaming device that began its life around 2006 and 2007. And it actually began life as an iTV, which I thought was a cool name and very appropriate considering an iPad, iPhone, and so forth. But as you British folks know, ITV is a proprietary kind of term in England, and so they had to basically do away with that possibility and call it the Apple TV, a choice which I think is unfortunate. Anyway, I'm going to show you some generations of Apple TV. There haven't been that many. There've only been 6 because it's really been sort of the ignored outlier of the Apple universe here. There've only been 6 versions, and those improvements have been slow to come. So you can see in this silver looking thing here is generation 1, and you can see from the back, the inputs there is no, well, I guess there is an HDMI cable, an HDMI port. So there's an HDMI port, there's an Ethernet port, there's an optical audio port, and these colorful RCA fittings are the component video and audio. Shortly after that, we got the black brick in generation 2, and then in generation 3, again, a black brick, and that's the familiar silver remote that went with generations 2 and 3. Now, the way I remember it, the big complaints about generation 2 and generation 3 at the time, they lacked the Amazon Prime app. These were devices that had a fixed home screen. You couldn't add to it or subtract from it. Basically, when you booted the Apple TV, you got the same screen every time. You couldn't modify it. Beginning with generation 4 on the right, which became a little thicker, it was probably the most significant change in the Apple TV was between generation 3 and generation 4. You could add apps. The remote, which you see here, had some features that the previous remote didn't have. Namely, you could have voice commands. There was a trackpad up here at the top, and a play pause. There was a volume control. It was quite a step forward. And you built your own home screen. I mean, there were certain fixed ones like the iTunes TV app and the iTunes Music app and the iTunes Movie app and so forth. But you could add a lot of different apps to your home screen. Generation 5 came along, and the big advance forward there was a 4K resolution. So 4 times as much fidelity as with generation 4. Generation 4, by the way, the one on the right, it became known once 4K was introduced, became known as the HD version of the Apple TV. And so generation 5 was 4K version, and it was increased fidelity. It had some other characteristics that I'll get into when I talk about the newest generation. And then finally, most recently, the Apple TV 4K Generation 6 debuted this year. I went right out and got one practically the day it was introduced. And you can see that what is in the box is basically the block, the Apple TV block, the remote, a power cable, a lightning to USB cable, but not a block, not a power block. And unfortunately, you need a special cable for the 4K versions, a high-speed HDMI cable for 4K. Apple doesn't give you one, which bothers the heck out of me because I think they ought to. But you have to go and buy one for $30 on the Apple site or $12 from Amazon. Multiple different brands available, by the way. Okay, and that's a side view of the new Apple 4K TV. And the main difference here, it's hard to see with the pictures that I have, but you can see here that this new remote has a couple of features that are kind of unusual. First of all, on the side there, right there, is the Siri button. It moved from the surface to the side, okay? Another feature is there is an on-off button right there. There are many ways of turning the Apple TV off. And on the surface there's a volume control button right there, play, pause. That's a mute button. And this less than sign or left arrow, if you want to call it that, operates kind of like a menu button used to. Okay. That's what's happened to the back of the Apple TV. It's a fairly simple looking thing. You got a power connection, HDMI connection, and an Ethernet connection. That's it. Compare that to the first generation, which had almost no room for connections. This is a shot of all of the Apple TV remotes over time. And you can see here that the first one was a fairly basic looking thing. The complaint of the fourth generation and fifth generation remote there were many complaints about it. First of all, the trackpad, which was up here, was very, very difficult to control. Now, there are settings that allow you to change the speed from fast to medium to slow. I use medium or slow, but it was very, very hard to control the cursor or the choice of app using the trackpad. One of the changes that Apple made with the remote from generation 4 to generation 5 is that the menu button was highlighted with a white ring that made it easier to find. Now, this is the current one, and you can see that it's kind of taken some of the features from the first one and the last one. This area right up here, it's hard to see, but that's a click ring, like used to be on the old Apple iPod, the click ring. But this whole surface, the entire circle from white dot to white dot, is a trackpad. So you can sweep across it, you can sweep up and down. But also, one of the problems I had with the old remote was when you had to advance 10 seconds or rewind 10 seconds. It didn't really work all the time. It really was very frustrating. This one is a very positive click. It's a very definite click. And you can advance 10 seconds at a time or more if you hold it down, or if you pause it and then sweep your fingers around the circle to move the progress bar to the right. Apple recommends a minimum of 25 megabits per second connection speed. I have 100 megabits per second. At one time, I had 300, and I've since changed it to 100, which will become clear as the talk progresses as to why that happened. The Apple TV costs $179 for the 32 gigabyte Apple TV and $109 for the 64 gigabyte. Why one or the other? Well, it's a question of how much gaming you do. I do no gaming whatsoever that requires a game controller. So I have a 32 gigabyte. There are cheaper options. There are options by Roku that range anywhere from $30 to $90, and of course the Amazon Fire Stick. And I believe Chromecast should be in there too, which are less expensive. All require an HDMI cord, high speed for 4K, and a power connection. All require some setup, usually specifying network and making sure all devices are on it. One of the common mistakes I made sometimes when I was trying to do home sharing was I would forget to check if I was on the same network as my laptop. So that was a common mistake to make. If you have a newer TV, then more than likely, especially at 4K, more than likely you have one that has onboard apps. So here's a picture of my television set. It's a 4K 65-inch machine, and you can see that it has onboard apps so that you can access Netflix, Prime Video, Disney Plus, Hulu, and the Sling bundle with my television set. I wouldn't need an Apple TV at all. Frankly, if you're a viewer who basically limits himself or herself to Netflix and Prime Video and maybe Disney Plus, then you don't really need the Apple TV. Sorry, Apple, but that's the case. Let's go back here. All right. Navigating the Apple TV, I think it's time to go to my Apple TV screen. So I am going to start up. The way I'm going to do this, by the way, is by using QuickTime. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to use QuickTime, say new movie recording, like that. Come down here and you can see that one of the choices I have is Living Room 4K, which is my 4K Apple TV. Try and move my cursor out of the way, get rid of the QuickTime screen. Okay. So all of those apps that you see right there, with the exception of the movie app, the TV shows, what else? The podcast app. This is the podcast app right there. The Photos app. All of the other ones that you see there are there because I put them there. And I've created some folders as well. And I've moved the folders to the top of the screen to access the ones that I get to most of all. So for example, this is HBO Max. And as I said, okay, so you're looking at the screen that came up when I clicked on HBO Max. Just like Netflix, there's a continue watching area. They make some suggestions based on other viewing that I've done on HBO Max. Most of the services these days have some sort of algorithm that watches what you watch and makes suggestions. It also has my list, which enables me to highlight the selections that I want to watch and keep track of them when new series come out and so forth. But I'm pretty sure that if I tried to play one of these, let's try Reminiscence and see what happens. So I'll try to play Reminiscence. And as expected, nothing happened. So that's, unfortunately, that's what's going to happen. So you can see here that there are folders, and those folders I created. So for example, see, here's the music app. Suppose I decided that I wanted the music app and Voodoo to be in a folder. Call it, I don't know, entertainment or something like that. But I would hold down the button on the remote, move it over the Voodoo app, and boom, it becomes a folder. And I can give it a name if I want. I don't know if you can see that. It's at the top of my screen and it's getting blocked a little bit. There it is. It's called Entertainment. I can go in and I can change that if I want to. And there's your name bar alphabet. But I'll leave it as Entertainment. I really don't care. Okay. Now, some other things about the Apple TV. One of the apps, of course, is, and this is where I get into the problem with Apple TV. The phrase Apple TV is used in three different connotations. Apple TV, the streaming device, Apple TV, the app on the Apple TV, and then Apple TV Plus, which is inside the Apple TV. So we'll take a look at the Apple TV app. We pull down this a little bit. I'm moving it because the share bar at the top of my screen is blocking it. The Apple TV app is a great app because it's a sort of a central app that keeps track of your viewing across a wide variety of apps. So, for example, right now, I regularly watch Jimmy Kimmel if it's a new show, and I regularly watch Stephen Colbert if it's a new show. So the Apple TV will keep up front here in the up next. Recently, we started watching Nine Perfect Strangers, which is on Hulu. So you can see here the sources are all over the place. You have an ABC show from Kimmel, you have a Hulu show, and you have a CBS or Paramount Plus show. So the Apple TV app is sort of a central clearinghouse of other things you watch. But it's also, as I sweep down here, you'll see, there's a portion of the Apple TV app that says My Channels. Okay, now these are not all my channels. These are the channels that I subscribe to through Apple TV. So the three that I subscribe to are Apple TV Plus, Paramount Plus, and Showtime. And so I can click on Apple TV Plus, and right up front here is the latest releases. I just watched the movie Coda with my my significant other Dale, who is has hearing challenges, and this is a fantastic movie. The coming of age. With it's a somebody chimed in. Fabulous.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a coming of age film that like I've never seen before, and it's absolutely wonderful. I recommend it highly. But I'm also watching Mr. Corman. Recall that I am retired, so I may have a few hours to watch things. Ted Lasso is very, very hot right now, but this is the Apple TV Plus app. And really, by comparison to other streaming services like Netflix and HBO Max and Hulu, the programming it has is not as widespread, but it's growing. And the earmark seems to be quality to all of these things. So the Apple TV Plus app is, to me, quite a bargain at $5 a month. Apple gave it away for free for a long, long time. I would say over 2 years. Maybe they're still giving it away for free.
James,
Mike,
they certainly are here because I'm sitting on starting a free year right now because I was offered a free year when I purchased my new Apple TV, which was a month ago or so. So
excellent, excellent. You know, and I believe if you subscribe for a year, they charge you $50, which is obviously less than $5 a month. So I think it's a good and growing app, and they have gotten a lot of awards and a lot of recognition for the quality of the offerings that they have. I think it's a very, very, very good app. Apple TV. Okay, I think that's all I wanted to mention about that. All right. So let's go back to the home screen. By the way that you get back to the home screen, is you hold down the menu button, and no matter how many screens away you are from the home screen, if you hold it down long enough, it gets you back to the home screen. So that's a nice little feature. Want to go in and look at some settings here. Any of you who have Apple devices are going to recognize the settings as fairly recognizable. At the top, of course, is a general setting. Language, region, so forth, so on. Pretty what I would call pro forma. Users and accounts. Here's one I'm going to come back to in a minute. Home sharing. For me, one of the big reasons to own an Apple TV. AirPlay and HomeKit. I do not have HomeKit. I do not have HomePod. But you can control those with the Apple TV. Well, that's rude. My phone just rang. Excuse me. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know if you heard it, but didn't mean to interrupt you. The remote is a rechargeable remote. It does not have batteries. The original remote for the Apple TV had one of those little coin-shaped CR batteries, but the most recent remotes have all been rechargeable, and you can see that this one is charged to 100%. And I forget sometimes to charge the remote, but I can say, in all honesty, I've never run out of power in the remote. It seems to be last a really, really long time. What will occur to me is, oh, I haven't charged the remote in a long time. I wonder how we're doing, and I'll check in the settings and find out that it's still got 50% power or something. So it's pretty hardy in that way. And you can see there's Bluetooth connectability. Lots of goodies in the settings. Accessibility settings. I believe that setting, increased contrast, is, you see the white circle or the white border around the app that's active? I believe that's from that. It's been so long since I did it, I can't remember where it was now that I look at it. But before that, I think with Generation 5 and with Generation 4, when you highlighted an app, it got a little bigger, and sometimes you can see it gets a little bigger, but it's not that noticeably bigger. So the bright technicians at Apple decided to put a white border around it, made it a lot better for us. Okay, apps. And you can individualize settings. I've got automatically update apps. I don't have automatic updates on my other devices, but I do have it on the Apple TV, and it'll do it typically at night. Network. I'm on a 5G network because for streaming, I believe Apple recommends a 5G network. If you use the 2.4G, that's a fast enough speed, I don't think you'll notice any buffering, but if you have access to 5G, you should be using 5G. Okay. And software updates. And you can see my software is tvOS 14.7, which is the most recent. There's an OS 15 coming sometime in the fall. And I don't know what changes that's going to produce. Might be security changes, I'm not sure. But that's due sometime in September or October. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Suppose you decide you want a particular app. Okay. You go to the App Store. It's not exactly the same mechanics as if you're on your phone or on your iPad, but it's pretty close. Okay, so let's go down here. Okay, I have these 5. Okay. Suppose I decided I wanted news live. Okay. Boom. I hit get. I hit get again. And you can see, then I would have to supply my password. I'm not going to do that for obvious reasons. I would supply my password and it would come down to here to, whoops. It would come down here to get, and it would take a few moments to download, and boom, I would have the app. Now, if it's an app that is going to require payment, then there will be further steps in which you have to supply a login and a password and payment information and so forth and so on, which is what I had to do with my streaming apps. Now I have Paramount Plus. I also have Showtime, which I got through Apple TV. And Paramount Plus used to be CBS, and Showtime is a premium channel. And there was a bargain offered, a bundle of both of them for $10, which is essentially a buy one, get one free. So when I have to view Showtime or Paramount Plus programming, I have to do it through the Apple TV app. Well, that's almost no inconvenience whatsoever. Up here, as you can see, one of the apps that I have in my premium folder is Showtime. That's because I used to subscribe to Showtime as a separate service before I got the bundle. But if that deal ever goes away, then I still have the app that I can sign up for. Okay, before I disengage with the Apple TV, are there any questions out there for on anything I've done so far? I've been chatting here for about 45 minutes.
Jim, there's a question that I don't know the answer to from Matt George. Matt, are you able to unmute and ask yourself? I'll ask for you. So he says, as an international affairs nut, does Apple TV give me a variety of news channels? Otherwise, I have to pay Bloomberg about £160 a year.
Oh, that's pretty steep, especially considering the exchange rate. I don't know for a fact, but it's very, very easy to check. You go to the App Store. You go to the search, and Bloomberg. What was the name of the app, Mike?
Oh, sorry, I've closed the chat. Hang on a sec.
Oh,
I think Matt just said Bloomberg. Yeah.
Bloomberg. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, here's one called
It's-
Bloomberg Media Business News. Is that it?
Yeah, Bloomberg News, business
Oh.
news.
Okay. Well,
Can you hear me, James? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
It's one of the best news for business, international, what's happening in Afghanistan. I can get CNN free. I can get BBC International free. But Bloomberg, you have to pay. Initially it's like £3 a month, but after 3 months, then it's £160 a year.
Uh-huh.
And what I want is sort of like all-encompassing facility, if it's Apple TV, that gives me, because I'm not like you, as you said, you're not into games. I'm not into games.
Yeah.
Yes, I do like interesting documentaries and videos and films, but it's the news aspect, the media aspect that really is a crux for me.
Well, just because I was able to get it here doesn't mean it doesn't cost money. We just haven't gone that deeply into it yet, but it would seem as though if I get the app, I think I'll just go through it and I'll get it and see what happens. I'm sorry, I have to give you my password. I don't want to do that. But
Jim, I have Mac switched on just behind me, so I'll have a quick look while you carry on talking.
Okay. So it is not at all unusual.
It says in-app purchases, so I'm sure that there are going to be some real heavy charges.
There it is. Yes, right down there, right below where it says get, it says in-app purchases. So that means you're going to be coming across with some money. Okay, hope that answers your question.
Yeah, in a sense, yes. I mean, I'm just thinking of the price from a price point of view, when to sort of like access the kind of stuff that I want, including Wall Street Journal, which apparently you can get through Apple TV.
Yes.
But if you want the other bits and bobs for a more comprehensive news coverage of the globe, plus the business side, what's happening in China, what's happening in COVID in China, etc. And Bloomberg has been brilliant. For the past year, I have been paying a few sums to it. And so you're limited, if you do not pay, then you're limited to only 5 articles. But if Apple TV can give me that stream as well, that would be a bonus because I can't get it otherwise. Thank you.
Okay. Well, as I said, just because you can get it doesn't mean it's going to be cheaper or free. Okay, if there are no other questions, I'm going to move on.
Jim, could I ask one quick question, please?
Sure.
Have you ever used a VPN service to link to your Apple TV so you could put yourself in other countries to pick up shows through your Apple TV?
No, I have not done that, but one of our members, Eckhart, regularly does that. And because he likes to watch either European news or football, something like that. So I've never personally done it, but I know it can be done.
I have a question. Maybe I missed it, but about the box itself. You have to buy the box and then you attach the box to your TV through an HDMI channel?
An HDMI cable, and it is not supplied. So you have to make sure that you have a high-speed HDMI cable when you get the Apple TV. Now, I'm sure that the folks at Apple, at an Apple store, for example, will be willing to sell you one, but it'll probably be higher than I would recommend you spend.
Okay, and how much does the actual box itself cost?
Depending on the size of the memory, it's either $179 or $199. So it's expensive
Okay,
by comparison to other streamers.
thank you.
Okay,
Hey, Jim, it's Mitch.
sure, Mitch.
I have a question about the Up Next, which, I use Apple TV multiple times during the day. And I just find it very aggravating that the Up Next excludes Netflix and probably a lot of other things. Is there a reason for that? Is it because Apple has an ongoing war with Netflix going on? And also the same thing with Siri. Siri doesn't work if you search for something and it's on Netflix, you won't find it unless you're on the Netflix channel. Can you comment on that?
All of what you say is true, and I'm going to add a third thing or a fourth thing to your list, and that is, for example, I have the commercial-free version of Paramount Plus, okay? So, thank you, I knew that. As my morning routine, I like to put on the commercial-free version of Stephen Colbert's Late Show while I'm making my breakfast. But it seems to be hit or miss how fast the newest, latest version of that show is available. Sometimes it's not available at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock in the morning. It's not available until later in the day. It's not available until the following day. So my answer is I don't know, but I'm guessing that you're pretty close. You remember the good old days of the war between Amazon Prime and Apple, and I'm assuming that war has continued. It's very, very competitive out there, as you well know, Mitch.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving on. I'm going to get out of QuickTime and get out of there. Come on, baby. All right, let's see where we are here. Very brief history. All right. Down at the bottom of this slide here, we've talked about the Apple TV app and the Apple TV Plus app. All right. This is my own personal reaction, my own personal opinion. When we went from standard definition to high definition, to me, the difference was amazing. Almost any movie you stream now, you stream in high definition. However, when we went from high definition to 4K resolution, the mathematical difference is quite significant. The viewing experience I don't find as dramatic. I find that the movement from standard definition to high definition was much more dramatic than from high definition to 4K. That's not to say you should not have the 4K, but I wouldn't be spending money on the high definition machine, for example. But I think if you don't have a 4K streaming device, that you might have higher expectations than you should have when you view a film. Okay, down at the bottom of the screen here, HDR, UHD, Dolby Vision, upscaling. Those are all, HDR, UHD, and Dolby Vision are all terms for very high fidelity video image. And if it says HDR or UHD, I'm not sure really visually what the difference is there. Dolby Vision is combined with Atmos, a very high fidelity. I'll have a couple of things to say about that later. Upscaling.
I can explain some of those later, James, if you want, because that's part of my day job.
Okay, all right, great. Upscaling is a nice little feature of the Apple TV. I just watched the Bourne trilogy again for the first time in a long time, and it's a regular DVD set. And I just watched it and was I thoroughly enjoyed the what my CD player was able to, or what my Blu-ray player was able to do to the quality of the video image. Well, the same thing is true with the Apple TV. Some of the basic standard definition films that you watch are going to look pretty darn good because of upscaling. And tvOS, I already mentioned, that's basically the name of the operating system. Okay, so let's jump ahead a little bit. Mentioned all those, okay. So, same prices, still expensive by comparison to other streamers. So why buy it? Well, when and if you buy one of these streaming devices and you get it home to set it up, you'll be amazed at how easy it is. You literally turn on your phone, turn on the Apple TV, you move your phone close to the Apple TV, and it immediately picks up all of the information it needs to make that Apple TV operational. It picks the network, settings, and so forth. You know, it just fits. Logins are still a pain. You're just going to have to accept the fact that no matter what apps you're using on the Apple TV, at some point you're going to have to log in, and it might, you know, you might stay logged in, which is fine. As Steve Jobs was fond of saying, it just works. Maybe everybody at Apple says that, but the new 4K 2021 version has the A12 Bionic chip. It provides faster performance at opening apps. Personally, I don't notice the difference. I'm not sitting there with a stopwatch figuring out the difference between 13 seconds and 13.5 seconds. Sporting events and playing games, if you're a gamer, okay? So those might be noticeable enhancements if you're watching sporting events. There's much less blurring in the video image, and if you're playing a game, the same thing, much less blurring from the motion. As I mentioned before, it will operate HomeKit and HomePod. I don't know if it works with the Apple Fitness Plus app now, but it certainly will when OS 15 comes out. Also, when OS 15 comes out in the fall, you're going to be able to power 2 pair of AirPods at the same time using a Bluetooth connection. Notes 2. Home sharing. For me, this is one of the main reasons that I like the Apple TV. Got it back. Okay. Here's my home screen. My Apple TV is set up for home share, which means my Apple TV and my laptop are on the same network. So if I go over here and select my computer, you can see that if these are on my computer, I can stream them from my computer to my Apple TV and play them in full high definition. I can do the same thing with music. So here are my playlists. Come over here. I don't know what will happen if I attempt to play Adele. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it.
I think the answer's no.
I think the answer is no. I can't hear it either. Okay. But you can see, oh, she's so lovely. You can see I have access to my full music library. If I go way at the top here, I also have access to photos that are in the cloud. By the way, the fact that the little white border boundary keeps slipping past the picture that I want is one of the unfortunate things about the Apple remotes. Okay, so that's a picture I'm able to see because it's on my laptop and various and sundry other things. Okay. Home videos. Oh, I guess it's playing. Okay. All right, that's yours truly trying to learn choreography. I will spare you. I will spare you having to watch that. But I think you get the idea that home sharing is a great little thing. Okay. The other thing, of course, besides home sharing is mirroring. So I'm going to use a piece of software called Reflector 4, and you're going to take a look at that's my phone. Okay. It is so easy to mirror your iPhone, your iPad, and your laptop or your laptop to an Apple TV. So if you want to read your email, and on a big, huge screen for some reason or another, you can do it. Anything else, turn it sideways if you like. One of the things I was able to do was watch a concert from my previous hometown in Racine, Wisconsin, and stream it to my Apple TV, and I got to watch it on widescreen through mirroring it with my phone and the Apple TV. Now, while I'm here, I'm going to show you one of the cool things. You may already be aware of it, but I'm sweeping down from the top, and you can see here, right here, oh, the QuickTime bar is covering a little bit. Right here is the Apple TV remote. Now, I mentioned how difficult it is sometimes to use the Apple remote, especially the older ones. Well, starting with, I'm not sure which one it was, but starting maybe 2 upgrades ago, this became part of everybody's control center, the Apple TV remote. And you can see here, there's the, oh gosh. On the left side is the microphone symbol. There's your Siri. The menu acts just the way you would expect it to be. Yes. The play pause button works like you would expect it to work. When you're streaming a movie or a television set, then in here, underneath the rectangle, which is basically your trackpad, is a +10, -10 second forward and reverse, which works just fine, but you have to be playing something to see it. One of the things I like about the most is when you have to supply a login or a password, if you do it on the Apple TV remote that's on your phone, what comes up is a keyboard where you can type in the letters you want instead of having to either speak them or scan a row of 26 letters and characters. The Apple TV remote, very cool. Okay, I can tell I'm a little bit behind. I'm sorry, folks. All right. Last chance before I go on to streaming. Any questions about the Apple TV device? The Generation 5 remote could be turned sideways and used as a gaming controller. The new silver remote cannot be used in that way. If you're a gamer or you like to play video games on your Apple TV, you have to buy a controller and connect it probably by Bluetooth to the Apple TV in order to play games. As I said, I'm not a gamer, so I really don't care that it's not a controller anymore. The redesigned Siri remote with new click pad with 5-way navigation, finally, as I said. Now, here's a kind of a controversial thought, but apparently I'm not the only one who feels this way. If you already own the 5th generation of Apple TV, the 4K, first 4K version, the major advantage of the new Apple TV is the new remote. Well, fortunately, the new remote works with all prior Apple TVs. So my advice, and maybe I would have done it if I had it to do over again and knew then what I knew now, is to keep the Generation 5 Apple TV and buy the remote for $59. Sorry, Apple. Okay. Color balancing. One of the great features of the new Apple TV 4K and also of Generation 5, the previous 4K, is its ability to do color balancing. This is a really neat thing. I've included a link to a video that does this and shows you how to do that. I can't do it for obvious reasons. The hookup is too complicated right now. But basically, it's a combination of choosing the color balancing setting in your settings app and your facial recognition on your iPhone. So this color balancing only works with, I believe, iPhone X, iPhone 10, and beyond. Okay? But it's a great feature. It's like you're tuning your 4K television specifically for your Apple TV. It only tunes it for the Apple TV. It won't tune it for your Blu-ray player or your cable box or anything like that. Siri, I have questions. Mitch talked about a particular aspect of Siri that he didn't like. What I've discovered about Siri with respect to the Apple TV and with respect to the button that's on the remote is it's good for looking for entertainment things, but you and I think of Siri as a much bigger thing than that. You know, like what's the temperature in London today at this moment? It won't do that kind of search. It'll do show me Tom Hanks movies, for example. It'll show me episodes of Friends, and it'll boot the app that has those things in it. So I'm not sure that it should be called Siri, but hey, Apple can do whatever they want to do. But I don't feel that it's the same Siri that you and I have become accustomed to. Okay, moving on. I already did that. All right. One of the apps, one of the websites that I think is really great is the Mac Rumors website. It has all of the latest up-to-date information about software releases and products, and I recommend it. So if you've never checked out macrumors.com, again, I'm assuming you folks in Suffolk can get access to that.
We can.
Good. Have you ever seen it before, Mike?
Yes.
Okay, good. Anyway, it's being recorded, so you're all set there. Other further information, Josh Centers has a book on Apple TV 4K, and he's written a take control book on it. He also wrote an article about the new Apple TV 4K, and this is a link to that. And again, I'll hold it here for a second in case you want to do a screenshot of that, but it'll be on the recording, so you could be able to pick it up off that. The third bullet point here is the video on how to color balance your TV set using the Apple TV color balancing feature. Thank you, Mitch Bryers, for giving me that link. It's about a 10, 12-minute video. It's very, very good. And then this is a video at the bottom that I discovered recently. It's about a 12, 14-minute video, which is a little bit of a deeper dive into the Apple TV. And as you can see, I use Bing for my search engine, but I don't know if that makes a difference. I don't think it does. But it's a video worth watching.
Jim, can I interrupt for a second?
Sir.
John Cook, one of our lovely members, asks, I'd like to understand how James is bringing up his Apple TV screen in QuickTime. Is that something you could just quickly go back over?
I absolutely can.
Thank you.
Okay. So I go to my Finder, to Applications, start QuickTime. Whoop. Oh no. Do you see what I clicked on?
Yeah,
I clicked on quit all. Jeez. How dumb. Okay, so now I open QuickTime Player. Can you see my menu bar? Sometimes Zoom crops the image a little bit. I don't know if you can see the menu bar where it says QuickTime Player. Do you see that, Mike? Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I mean it's masked by bits of Zoom, but it doesn't matter. It's pretty. Okay. Yes, it's obvious that it's there. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm hitting File, and the very, very first choice is New Movie Recording. Okay, so I'm clicking on New Movie Recording, and then up pops the QuickTime screen with my beautiful face on it. Okay, so QuickTime is expecting me to do a video recording right now. So I'm going to go over to this little down arrow right here. And you can see here that it presents you with choices for the camera source and microphone and the quality of the image. Living Room 4K is the name of my Apple TV in my living room. So I click on that, I don't care about the audio. All I cared about was the video image. And there you see that there's my Apple TV screen on my computer, and you're seeing it because I'm sharing my screen with you on Zoom.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Okay. Now, frankly, I've only ever done this when I've given this talk. This is, I think, the third time I've given this talk or a talk like it. So I'm not sure what happens if I attempt to play something. You know, if I'll get the audio on my laptop or not. But I don't know why I would want to do that anyway, because it's a much better experience to sit in my living room and get it with full video and full audio. So I'm going to quit QuickTime Player. And I hope that answers your question. That's how you do it. It goes without saying, if you attempt to record this material on your laptop, you will probably run into a frustrating experience. So I would suggest you don't even try to record by mirroring your Apple TV to your laptop. Okay, let's go back to my talk, which I inadvertently quit when I didn't want to. And I'm going to play in window. Okay. Okay, private listening, okay. Home sharing and mirroring I talked about. Universal sign-in. Once you sign in the Apple TV app for your other devices, you stay signed in. I won't show you because I'm running short on time, but the new Apple TV comes with some beautiful wallpaper when it goes into sleep mode. And you get a choice of 3 or 4 different environments. There's an underwater environment, there's a landscaped environment, cityscape environment, and the 4th one escapes me. But they're beautiful and they're in 4K and they are in ultra slow motion, so they're quite detailed and easy to watch. I could envision having a party at my house and putting on that wallpaper on my big TV and having it as a background just because it's attractive. There you go. And I already talked about photos. Cannot be used. Okay. ClickPad. Boom, boom, boom. All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. We're ready to talk about streaming. Going to talk about some streaming video, cutting the cord, yes or no. The answer is maybe. And if time, which I think it's pretty clear I'm not going to have time. Music services and music app and so forth. Okay, so what do you need? You need a TV, probably a smart 4K with onboard apps like Netflix. You can get a really good one with a big screen, 65 inches or so, for $800 or less. Now, as soon as you move up to an OLED machine or a QLED machine, then the price is almost double, if not more. Now, if I recall, George, I hope George is awake. George, later on in the year, okay, later on in the year, aren't Mitch and I going to be giving a talk on TV sets?
Mitch, is that the one we canceled?
Oh, we canceled it? I don't remember that.
I think we did. I mean, it's not on my schedule.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't have it either. I just that was a little memory bit that I just pulled up. Okay.
Yeah,
as they
say, it was scheduled originally, but we did cancel.
Okay, we canceled it. Okay, as they say, never mind. All right, so you need a smart TV, obviously high definition, 4K DV. You need a streaming device. You need something that produces really good sound. And I have a story that comes from a personal experience. I used to feed my video and audio, especially my audio, through a component system, a receiver or amplifier, if you want to call it that, and a wired surround system, and it was a pretty good system. It was made by Bose. However, I've had my condo retiled, and therefore had no place to hide the wires unless I wanted to run them all the way around the perimeter of the house, which was not very practical. So I went searching for a wireless surround system and found one about 5 years ago that I thought would be good, made by Polk Audio. Polk Audio is a premium audio brand. I spent about $900 for this system. However, it was not intuitively obvious to set up. And when you're in the Apple environment, you're used to intuitively obvious setups. Well, this was not. And I had to spend something like 5 to 6 hours on the phone with technical support to get the system set up. I had to go through some system updates, and I actually, they sent me some free equipment so that I could get a 5G signal. Anyway, it was long and involved. And in Southwest Florida, we will lose power every once in a while because we get thunderstorms. Well, every time this power went out, then I had to set up the audio system again. And I just got fed up at some point. Well, I saw Costco advertise a $200 Vizio wireless surround system. Well, I said, Costco is very, very generous about return policy. So if I don't like it, I'll just bring it home. Well, I took this thing out of the box, I plugged it in, and it like worked out of the box. I didn't have to do anything. And my Apple TV remote was able to control the volume, and I don't recall doing anything. It was able to turn the soundbar on and off, and I don't remember doing anything to pair the darn thing. It just worked. And you know what? It sounds pretty good. Now, I don't think that I don't think that the Polk Audio was 4.5 times the quality of this system. So to me, don't be afraid to spend less for an audio system for a soundbar and surround speakers, because they just might answer your needs. So assuming you have that, you need an HDMI cord, of course, as I've said a couple of times tonight. All require some sort of setup. That doesn't surprise you. Usually specifying the network and making sure all of the devices are on the same network. Okay, so I'm going to talk about some of the services that I have personal experience with. There are obviously, this has become such a competitive environment that there are many, many, many that I won't be able to talk about. Okay, so tax is not included. You're pretty familiar with Netflix. Now, I've been around long enough that I remember when Netflix did not stream anything. You used to send away for a DVD through the mail in a little red envelope. And then it started transitioning to this streaming for less money. And I said, whoa, what's that about? And imagine what it was like and what it is now. First of all, Netflix is so comprehensive in its offerings. It has such a wide variety of offerings that I can envision people having Netflix and nothing else. That's how good that app is. It's, as we've mentioned before, in high competition with all the others. The competition is fierce in streaming services, and new good ones are being added every day. Hulu. I happen to have the basic Hulu. That's the $6 one. I just started watching a new series called 9 Perfect Strangers on it. It's very good. It hooked me. And the episodes are about 50 minutes long. There are 3 internal commercial breaks, as well as a commercial in front of the programming. None of the commercial breaks are longer than a minute and a half. I don't find that intolerable. That's just enough time to get up from the couch, go to the refrigerator and get a soda and come back. Or
I have a question to break in. I have
Go
a
ahead.
Hulu and I lost my controller. Is there any way I can get another controller for the Hulu? I lost the controller.
I didn't know that Hulu had a separate controller. I watch it on Apple TV.
Okay, sorry to break
What do
in.
you watch it on? You watch it on?
I watch it through an HDMI connection to my television.
Okay, so it's Hulu is part of your television, not part of your Apple TV.
I don't have an Apple TV.
Okay, so you basically lost the remote to the television, I would think.
No, I lost the remote to the Hulu. The Hulu has its own remote.
No kidding. Okay, that I did not know. Did you try
Don't-
calling
no,
customer
don't
service?
waste everybody else's time. I thought you did. Don't waste everybody else's time.
Okay, I'll just say try calling customer service and see if you can get one.
Okay, will do. Thanks.
Okay. Anyway, I think the basic Hulu is a good deal. The ad-free Hulu is about 13 to 14 bucks, so it's more than twice the amount. I don't think the difference is worth it. I think it's worth it to have the basic Hulu. Amazon Prime Video finally came to the Apple TV about 4 years ago. Everybody was happy. It's a great video service, has some great original series, some great original movies. It's very competitive with Netflix and HBO Max. And it comes free with Amazon Prime. Or you can, if you don't have Amazon Prime, you can spend $9 a month. By the way, all of these are on-demand services, meaning you can buy a month, stay with it for a month, stream all you want to stream, and then drop it afterward. Also, all of these services have a free trial period. Now, they vary in length, sometimes a week, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes a month, but not often. Paramount Plus is the new version of CBS All Access, and it has original programming too. My favorite series on Paramount Plus is The Good Fight. It's fantastic. But as I mentioned earlier, I also watch Colbert the day after it runs. HBO Max is the HBO we've all come to know and love, but much, much better these days, because for the same price, you can get first-run films that debut in the theater and at home on the same day. So when Weight Watchers, Weight Watchers, oh good Lord, I have not been drinking, I swear. When Wonder Woman 84 debuted a few months ago, I watched it the same night it debuted in 4K. It was wonderful, and it didn't cost me any more than the monthly fee I was already paying for HBO Max. Having said that, what the future holds in store in terms of filmmaking, it has a lot of people guessing. You know, are we going to get into an environment where the only films that are going to debut in theaters are the big blockbuster films, and then the little films that cost less than $5 million to make, like Coda on Hulu, those are going to be debuting at home? I don't know, but I don't know how this current situation is going to sustain itself But until then, I'm going to enjoy first run films for $15 a month. So when my significant other comes over and we watch television together, $7.50 a ticket. That's not bad. Showtime, as I said, I have Showtime that is normally $10. Showtime, to me, it's struggling a little bit. I don't find that many series right now that are captivating me. I think the series Billions is about the best one that they have, and that's coming back in a couple of weeks. And I'll start up with Showtime again. But I have the Showtime Paramount Plus bundle for $10. It's like buy one, get one free. Stars is also technically a premium app. It has frequent promos, as I said. You can usually get it at a bargain price. I think the last deal that I got was something like 12 months for $3.99 a month. I mean, it was really actually less than Apple TV Plus. For a while, there was Quibi, which was supposed to be a streaming service dedicated to iPhone users, because all of the series were like 10-minute episodes. Well, that lasted about a year and a half, and then it died. A quick and deservedly free death. Apple TV Plus, $5 a month. As Michael has said, frequently it's free. Definitely free when you buy an Apple device. I got a free year of Apple TV Plus when I bought an Apple Pencil, a Generation 1 Apple Pencil, and I got a free year of Apple TV Plus out of it. Practically paid for the pencil. Several of my friends are very, very fond of Acorn TV. That's, I hope I'm not telling you something you already know, but that's an app that has all the British programming. I don't know if you use Acorn TV or if you use other services that give you the access to the British programming. But it's very popular among some of my friends. The Criterion Collection is a relatively new streaming service. Criterion has garnered quite a reputation for taking classic films and really doing fantastic upgrade packages. Frequently, they do restorations on a film, and they will have a lot of extras, both about the film and about the restoration, and it's available for $11. And if I try a new streaming platform, it's probably going to be that one. They offer 2 weeks for free, and then $11 a month after that, and it's very high quality stuff. Disney Plus, nobody needs to be familiarized with Disney Plus because everybody's already familiar with it. $7 a month, it's quite a deal. It's got all of the first run. It's got all of the Star Wars and Marvel films. That's quite a package just by itself. It has original programming within those universes, Marvel and Star Wars. You can also get first run films on Disney Plus, but you pay quite a bit of money for it. So if you want to watch Black Widow, for example, or the latest animated film, you can get it through Disney Plus, but you're going to pay $30 to watch it. So I'll just wait for it to be free, quote unquote free. Disney Plus bundle gets advertised quite a bit on commercial television. It's the basic Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN Plus for $14 a month. It's an especially good deal if you watch ESPN Plus. I don't, so I don't have the bundle. Peacock is one of the new entries that is basically NBC Universal. It's free to Comcast subscribers here in the States. I don't know what the status is for Great Britain. But it's free with commercials, or you can pay some more and get a commercial-free level of that, which is fairly commonplace for all of these services. Not unusual to have to watch a commercial or two or pay a little more to not watch it. Comments on programming. You know, we used to say there were 57 channels and nothing on with cable. Now there's 4,057 channels and some people claim nothing on. I think it's too cheap to say that because I think you're not looking hard enough. But what I see happening here with streaming services is they are carefully trying to get control of certain series, for example, to become attractive to subscribers. So if you're a Friends fan and you want to watch Friends, especially commercial free, well, you have to subscribe to HBO. If you're an Office fan and you want to watch Office commercial free, well, you have to subscribe to, I don't know who's carrying it these days, I think Netflix. And frankly, the way I see it going is it's going to be more and more like that. Our TV viewing is going to become an a la carte process. Okay, I have this here, justwatch.com, because I didn't have any place else to put it. So this is a website that I want to call to your attention. And again, I'm not sure how this applies to Britain. But let me go to Just Watch. This is not the only website that does this. Okay, suppose I get it in my head that I want to watch the Lethal Weapon series. Okay, so I, as you know, subscribe to many streaming services. So I can go in each of those streaming services and look and see whether they are carrying Lethal Weapon. Or I can go to justwatch.com and I can hit the little search button up here and put in Lethal Weapon. Hit return. Oh, well, it would help if I spelled Lethal Weapon correctly. Try it again. Okay, there it is. Oh, and lo and behold, Lethal Weapon, the first film in the series, is on HBO Max, and it's free to me because I already subscribed to HBO Max. There are also rental possibilities and purchase possibilities. And lo and behold, the entire Lethal Weapon franchise is on HBO Max. So I can watch it in high definition for free just by using justwatch.com. Fantastic service. You can also do that on imdb.com, but I've never done it. Cutting the cord is basically what you want to do if you get fed up with a cable service, like some of the people around here got fed up with Comcast. Unfortunately, at least in the States, these cable companies basically get the license for a certain region, a certain area, and other competitors need not apply. In other words, I live in a subdivision on the southeast side of Naples, and our internet service provider and our cable television provider is Comcast. If I want to switch the spectrum, I can't do it because it doesn't come in here. If I want to use a dish, I can't do it because the Architectural Review Committee won't let me. So I'd have to have a dish on the outside. So sometimes people get frustrated with cable service and say, all right, damn it, I'm going to get out of using cable and I'm just going to stream. I'm going to subscribe to these services individually and not pay the high price of cable. Well, I tried doing that a few years ago. And I would say that I had mixed success. If you want to cut the cable, cut the cord, you have to put it together a package of things. One of the things you may have to get is a digital antenna for over-the-air channels. Now, I asked Mike earlier in the week to describe your viewing setup in Great Britain, and frankly, it made my eyes glaze over when I saw his response, and I went to Wikipedia that showed the list of channels and sources that are available in Great Britain. I couldn't follow it, frankly. Maybe it's a little simpler here, or maybe it's simpler and I'm just not perceiving it that way. But if you want to sort of get rid of basic cable, but you still want local channels, then you have to get them in some way. So one way of getting them is to pay the high price for something like Hulu, which will supply to you ABC programming or NBC programming or CBS programming in the case of Paramount Plus. So you can get access to that kind of programming by paying a higher price for those streaming services. You can get them over the air with a digital antenna. They're not that expensive, but again, you may be limited as to whether or not you can do that. You need a streaming device or a smart TV. Most of them are now, or possibly both. You have to have login credentials for these devices. But typically, one of the things that you're going to want to consider when you're considering cutting the cord is whether or not you want to buy a TV bundle. Now, a TV bundle is typically X number of channels. For example, YouTube TV, which is $65 a month, 90 channels plus add-on premium channels. So this would be something you would stream, not watch via cable. One of the more popular ones is Sling TV, but I'll use that to illustrate. Sling TV is $30 to $45 depending on what you choose. So let's go look at Sling TV. And here's the problem I have with it. Sling TV has two options, Sling Blue and Sling Orange. Sling Blue and Sling Orange. There's a third option where you can get both Sling Blue and Sling Orange, okay? So let's look at Sling Blue. As you can see here, there's a lot of familiar symbols. But if you're like me, and frankly, I watch too much TV, there are several in here that I'd be interested in. For example, I'd be interested in CNN. I'd be interested in AMC. I'd be interested in BBC America, of course, never miss Graham Norton, and so forth. Bravo, FX. But there's all kinds of channels in here that I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in True TV, okay? Not interested in True TV. I'm not interested in Nick Jr. Almost never watch Lifetime. Watch headline news maybe 3 times a year. So it seems to me that by buying a bundle, a monthly bundle, you're trading one problem for the same problem. That is you're paying $30 a month or $35 a month or $40 a month, and you're getting maybe 25% of the channels that you're really interested in. So Sling TV is a bundle option, Philo TV, Fubo, all of these are bundling options that have different combinations. Generally speaking, if you want to include local television, again, at least in the States, you have to pay in the high end of those choices. In 2019, which is the first time that I attempted to cut the cord, My cable service included the premium channels of HBO, Showtime, Stars, and TCM, Turner Classic Movies, plus a digital HD level of service. You had to pay extra for that. Streamers were separate. Netflix and Prime, I subscribed to separately, not part of my cable service. My Comcast bill went from around 136 to 153, including 300 megabits per second internet. It was a package that included an internet phone that I never used. When attempting to cut the cord, the costs were about the same, so I stuck with Comcast. In 2020, I tried to negotiate a lower price again, where the bill went from $153 to $193 from Comcast. Now remember, Netflix and Hulu are separate. Now my homeowners association covers basic cable. So that's my local channels plus some of the digital channels for 76 bucks. I added DVR service at 10 bucks and an additional high definition box at 750. As I looked at what I had, the only thing that was missing from the cable service was Turner Classic Movies, which I really enjoy. And so I called Comcast and I said, I want to get Turner Classic Movies. Well, you can't buy that. And what do you mean I can't buy that? It's not available as a separate premium channel. It's only part of a package. What part? It's part of the sports package. I said, what? Turner Classic Movies, movies from the 30s, 40s, and 50s is part of the sports package. Well, it's technically an entertainment package, but all of the entertainment is basically sports. And I said, okay, how much is it? 10 bucks. Okay, so I subscribed to the sports package so I could get Turner Classic Movies. That's the part about cable that makes you crazy. Okay, the other thing I did was I reduced my internet to 100 megabytes per second from 300. Noticed no change in service. It was just every bit as fast as it had been. I didn't notice any buffering or any screen loading that was slow or anything like that. So that was fine. I purchased my own modem and router. Eventually, after I think about a year, they paid for themselves. The total that I spent for my cable service was $106 a month. I then, in a fit of pique and anger, said, well, you raised my prices. I'm not going to give you my HBO money. Damn it, I'll subscribe to HBO Max separately. Now I'm glad I did, because HBO Max is actually more than HBO. I won't go into how much more, but if you want to examine HBO Max, go ahead. You'll see there's a lot of additional stuff. For example, the entire DC universe is on HBO Max. Anyway, so I decided I'd pay $106 for my cable bill. I stream HBO Max, I stream Netflix, I stream Hulu, I stream Paramount and Showtime together, Stars, Apple TV Plus, and I'm not including Netflix and Hulu because I had those separate before. So I'm trying to compare apples and apples. My total expenditure is $63 a month. So between Comcast and the streamers at $37, in 2021, I'm paying $143 a month versus 2019, I was paying $153 a month. And of course, I avoided paying the $193 a month. So basically, if you want to cut the cord, there is no easy answer. You basically get your calculator, you get your pen and pencil and paper, and you start recording some figures. You start asking some questions about what's this for, cost this, what's that cost, and you add them up and you see how you do. And it may not be the most advantageous option to cut the cord. I did a little bit of both. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you very, very much for your attention, but that'll be it.